Napa, Mexico. We're here with our managers, our core group of leaders, and we work hard, but we also play hard. We were at a beautiful Airbnb. We've got the beach in our background, and we're just gonna be sharing from the rip just a few things that have allowed us to see success in our business. So we hope that you take value from this. And the beautiful part about this business is sales and leadership can truly change anybody's life. Let's say you're completely broke, have absolutely no dollars. Within the span of a few months of dedicated hard work, grind, grit, determination, you can get your income up to $30,000, $40,000 a month, and truly anybody can. It doesn't take any innate special talent, any innate special ability. As long as you're a good, genuine human being, you have a hard work ethic, you're determined, and you have the skills required to be successful, you can make it happen. So with that being said, the first question is like, what's the most common mistake you see a new agent make their first 30 days in the life insurance business?
Dude, to be honest, I feel like a lot of times people think that, when you come into a business that you have to be perfect, right? And a lot of the times agents think that, there's always a special way. They had to have a lot of skill set. The biggest mistake that I honestly see agents make when they first come into the business is the ability to not become coachable. And what I mean by that is, what is teaching, right? The definition of like what teaching is just telling somebody how you became successful, right? That's what we all do, teaching from past experiences. And when you have a mentor who's become successful in this business and you're not listening to him, right? You're thinking that, maybe there's different ways that you need to navigate around this. Is a lot of the times it's just, dude, focus in, listen to the person who's actually successful, and become good at self-sufficiency and just doing and implementing exactly what you're being told to do. Like, this business is not rocket science. Sales is not something that requires a ton of practice and skills to become at least decent at. It just requires becoming coachable, learning, and honestly just doing, like I said, exactly what you're told to do. And I promise you, that's what I did. Remember when I first came into this, is you told me, you're like, dude, invest in this, buy this, and I just implemented exactly what we told me to do. And now we're sitting here in freaking Mexico.
Facts. It's very copy and paste. If you come in, try to buck the system, figure it out yourself, you're gonna spit out real quick.
Exactly. And like, honestly too, I mean, if anyone wants to touch on this, is like, I feel like not only are agents struggling, but like, what is the biggest issue you see within mindset? Because I feel like in sales in general, obviously it's just being an entrepreneur, there's a lot of things that throw wrenches in the road, emotions, things go through your head. Like, what is the biggest issue that you guys see with like mindset when agents first come into this business? Because I feel like that's a super easy thing that can be fixed once you understand the concept of it.
I want to comment on that because I think you're focusing on people that are coming into this industry as entrepreneurs and they don't like being told what to do. And then there's the other people that are coming into this industry as 9-to-5ers and they want people to tell them what to do. But it's got to be a mix of the two. You have to have that independence of being an entrepreneur, but also have the coachability. So it depends on where you're coming from, 9-to-5 or previously entrepreneur.
And that's why structure is so important. Like everybody, you need structure. And to your point of like, why that all this business comes down to is mindset. Where I truly believe it's 10% skill set, it's 90% mindset. So when you look at it on a daily basis, it's just like analyze your life and think about your daily habits right now, and how, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you grade yourself? Like, what's the food you're putting in your body? What time are you waking up in the morning? Are you like exerting physical energy in the morning? Are you working out? Are you physically active? Are you consuming good material? Are you reading books? Or are you just scrolling through TikTok? Are you going to the gym, or are you sleeping in? Are you eating healthy? Are you eating a healthy breakfast? Or are you eating cereal and you're putting shit in your body? And then you wonder why. So it's all these little micro habits. Who are you listening to? Are you taking advice from friends and family? Your friends and family is great and they love you, but they may not want to be where you're at. So for me, is like, yes, you made a good point of like, coachability is so important, but you want to be very selective on who you're coachable from. And if someone's not where you want to be, well, why the heck would you listen to them?
Right.
Like, only take advice from the people that you look up to and you want their life and you want to be where they are.
Well, bro, I feel like honestly the best person who kind of came into this business, and I've honestly learned a lot about like setting the proper mindset, is you, Turner. Like, dude, I feel like you should talk about a little bit about the expectations that you set your agents. because that mindset is pretty much like unbreakable. I mean, that's something that you always preached on. Something that I've learned, that how you lead, honestly.
What specifically?
Just the way that you tell agents is like they pretty much trust in the process, right? Like that specifically. What do you usually do when an agent comes in, like for example, and they're not trusting what they're doing,
Sure.
right? Things like that.
A big thing is just pointing out what's working for the agents that are simply just following all the necessary steps. So similar to what you said earlier, one of the biggest things that we see in this industry is just people coming in, feeling the need to try to reinvent the wheel for whatever reason, when in reality, there's no reason. You can simply just find a mentor who's doing it at a high level, copy and paste what they're doing. And if you just are doing the exact same thing, saying it the same way and outworking them, you're going to get at least close to the results that they're getting. So a big thing is simply just coming in and not trying to make your own script, find your own leads, change everything. Like it's simply just plugging in and copy and pasting what others are doing at a high level. And that's really just the easiest way to kind of become successful in this business.
That makes a lot of sense. And follow-up question off of that for Isaac, Kobe, also Mikey, but specifically for Isaac and Kobe, since you guys have been here for a good amount of time and a part of our group. I mean, because you guys came in, you guys were inconsistent. You know, you weren't taking this business as seriously as you guys should have. And now it's like, boom, you guys popped off. And you're on a hockey stick trajectory growth in your business. Not only you guys leading from the front in personal production, but you guys are also hiring, developing, and growing your agency at a large scale as well. So what was that mindset switch for you guys that really like made you guys start really hammer down and take this a lot more seriously?
I mean, I think the biggest thing was not riding the roller coaster of emotions. One thing that you always said when we got into business is stay level, stay even keel. So there's going to be weeks where you write 10, 15K. There's going to be weeks where you don't write that much. It's simply just staying level and consistent with your inputs. And that's
what do you do on the shit days?
I mean, I
shit on that. What do you do?
Yeah, I mean,
like
it happens.
I like to call my clients, like the clients I already have, and just kind of like reminds myself I can close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I still got it. You know what I mean? And like sometimes just talking with them, it kind of just reminds you of like what you can do. It switches your whole mindset, especially on a bad day. You know?
I like that, bro.
Sorry to cut you off, bro.
Nice.
What were you saying?
Yeah, I think another thing is, I mean, the more no's you get, the closer you are to a yes. I truly do believe in this business. If you have a bad day or a bad couple of days, like you're due for a big day or a big next couple of days, right? So it's simply just putting in the same inputs and staying consistent and not getting down on yourself, because once you get down on yourself, then at that point you're
It's a negative
pretty
spiral.
much drowning yourself. Like you're spiraling down. It's not going to go well. So simply being consistent and just knowing that it's going to work out.
Yeah.
Because it does.
The insurance gods are always watching.
Yeah.
And you can't cheat the grind. Like you may be able to fool other people. You may be able to fool other people that you're working hard, or you're putting in the work, but deep down you know, and the grind knows.
Yeah.
The grind always knows. That's what I've always told myself. Is like you can't cheat the grind. It's true. But on the flip note to that, Tristan, you and Chase, bro, it was really cool to see you guys coming into this business, because you guys came in straight out of college, got your license, and then boom, it was like it felt like the next week you guys opened up an office in Sioux Falls. So what really like made you guys come in and like just really take this business by the reins?
I mean, in the first part, like before we even started, I saw Isaac and Mikey. They were chilling at me and Chase were like, wonder what they're doing. Let's give it a try. So we came in, started working. I mean, it was a tough start at first, both in school, doing it part-time, going to the library in between classes, trying to close as much as we can and learn as fast as possible to get over that hump, you know? And then come to find out, Isaac, Kobe, Mikey, they're all moving to Chicago. And me and Chase were like, well, we are the guys in the office who like are starting to build the team, things like that. I mean, we necessarily didn't have the cash flow to do it, but we just made the leap. We opened up an office, got all the guys in there, Because genuinely, we do believe that being in an office, I mean, you get 10 times as much work done as you would being at home. So just making sure we got all of our guys into the office, it was just extremely important for us, I would say.
Yeah.
That was a big conversation we had too. Is like me and Isaac and Mikey. It was kind of just like, how are we gonna pass the torch? Like, who's gonna be the guys that come in and like they rise to the occasion? And it kind of just all they just stood out. Like, it just your leaders will stand out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, speak on just because we're all pretty much all of us work out of an office, whether it's the Chicago office, the Sioux Falls office, self. I mean, feel free for everyone to chime in or whoever wants to, but like, let's just talk about the importance of the office culture. Why is that so important?
Bro, honestly, I think you should speak on this as Gabe. Dude, Gabe is one guy who's definitely been building culture since the beginning, bro. Because you've been in the office, you were in Jonah's office the entire time, bro. You got to see how that business scaled, what the culture been like. You've honestly been in insurance, I think, longer than all of us.
Yeah. So honestly, when I first joined this agency, it took me about a day. As soon as I got all my contracts over, was able to move up here. It was one day later. And I was in
Talk
Chicago.
to us about that conversation, about how we met each other and the first conversation we had.
Yeah, so, I booked a call on your schedule. I was at another agency. I was already in the insurance game, and I was struggling heavily, just at home by myself, like no real structure. And I think a lot of virtual agents, they can fall into that, and that was me. So I knew you were having a lot of success, and not just you, bro, but your agents. That actually was a big thing that brought me to your group. It wasn't just you, it was more of your agents too. So it really attracted me to prosper. So I reached out to you, showed me, and your calendar was messed up, so that's okay. But when we had that conversation and you're like, yeah, come on board, you're like, dude, most of the people in the office are performing at a higher level. I was like, all right, I'll be there. And as soon as my contracts went through, I think I sent you a picture of my car, just packed up, and it was probably a day later I was in Chicago.
Well, hold on. You skipped a couple things, because to be fair, so I can say this now because we're boys. I love you like a brother.
Yeah.
But when we first hopped on that call, you're like, hey, bro, so like I've been in insurance for a couple years, like it's not really working out. I'm like, all right, well, like, what's your biggest month been? You're like, I think I did 10 grand one month. I'm just like, and for anybody that's hired existing life insurance agents, they're either the best agents to work with or they're the worst.
I don't even like doing
And
it.
typically they're the worst the majority of the time, because they bring the bad habits, they bring the bad energy, and everything else
They have a perspective
over
like
with
that.
them. Yeah, and then they wonder why they're not successful here, because they bring all those bad character traits into this business. So I'm always skeptical about bringing existing insurance agents on. So I told you, I was like, listen, bro, if you're serious about making this happen, move up.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that call, you sent me your car, your Toyota Camry, packed with everything you own, driving from Texas up to Chicago.
Yeah.
And that was what allowed you to be successful. So let me ask, like, if you would not have done that and you'd have continued to work remotely from home, like just plugging into our Discord and Zoom with the team, do you think you'd be successful, or you'd be where you're at?
I know for sure I would not be. Without a doubt. Not only did I need structure, but I needed the confidence too. And I saw you guys doing it. There's other guys in the office doing it. So as soon as I got around you guys, it was almost just easy at that point. Knowing, because I already knew the products. I already have heard so many things in insurance. I've ran a few presentations at that time, and it just wasn't clicking. But you guys gave me a lot of confidence, just showing up every day and seeing you guys close deals. And, the whole reason I never, quit insurance, even though it was really tough, I was not making money, was because I knew the possibilities and a lot of the things that were being achieved in this industry. A lot of it was happening with your group. And so as soon as I got around you guys, it was like a no-brainer. We've all heard the saying, like, you're the 5 people you surround yourself with. And so I just took that literally.
You feel like that's what hindered you from writing like high months before? Like, what do you feel like allowed you to just start like writing 40K months, bro?
Well, Jonah said it a little bit earlier. I don't know if you guys caught it, but one thing he told me on our first call was he broke it down and he was like, we have this system. This is what we do. And if you're not successful, it's on you. And that was really big for me at the time. It sounds kind of scary, but at the time I felt like I had excuses. I didn't have the proper guidance. I didn't know, there was no real system in place. I bought leads from every vendor. I worked every type of lead, every type of script. I was that guy trying to figure it out on my own. And we touched on that specific agent at the beginning of the call, and how that's a very, very, short road in this business. Is like, if you're going to figure it out yourself, it's very hard, and most people will not make it. And that was me for a while. Luckily, I had the funds to try and figure it out, but that quickly dwindled down to the point where I was like, I need help.
Well, like, speaking on funds, bro, because I feel like a lot of people came from being broke and like coming into this business with little to no money. I mean, most people know Jonah's story. Like, well, you spent the last like $3,000 on leads, like pretty much.
I made my first sale.
Yeah, before you made your first sale. But like now, for all of us being here, I'm very curious what other people feel like. But for me, like, it's kind of this weird mindset shift where like I know that I will not be broke unless I'm spending my money ridiculous, stupid. Like, I will never be broke because the skill set that I learned of, like, I know in insurance especially, I could literally pick up leads and pick up the phone, bro, and I will never be broke again. And it's just like this weird mindset shift. Do you guys feel like you've experienced that?
Absolutely.
Oh, 100%. It's like, at this point, if you could literally give me anything, like, you give me that glass of water right there, and if that glass of water has a name and a phone number on it, I'm calling them up and I'm selling them whatever. Like, I'm selling them a glass of water.
Dude, but it's such like, it's just this crazy shift. I mean, I feel like for me at least, like, it just changed my whole perspective. Like, and I come from, like, I was selling solar panels, right?
Yeah.
Like, even in that industry, I just felt like that wasn't real sales, because a lot of people understand sales as like the teaching or the explanation of like logic, right? Like, oh, it's a logical sale. Like, this makes sense. You have a need. I'm your solution. But like with insurance, it's this entire different sale where everyone is really completely different. Everyone's situation is different, and you're having to like draw in this emotion and build this pain and understanding, and like really think quickly on your feet in certain circumstances. And like, I feel like that's what taught me real sales. I feel like this industry, if anyone would ever to look at it, is when can I just develop the actual skill set to literally, like you said, sell anything, is insurance. Like, hands down. I mean, do you guys feel that way, or you want to touch on that?
I want to ask a follow-up question to that, and someone can answer this. But knowing what you just said, Jake, like, what do you think the real reason is that people don't buy?
I would say for me, the reason people don't buy, if you would translate that, is the reason people buy, right? People buy because they trust you, right? They trust a professional. Biggest thing is they buy from you because they're buying you, right? Also, they buy on information that they discover. You can't tell somebody about something. They're never going to buy that. A lot of people just think, oh, I can explain why this is going to be good in that person's situation. Everyone makes a decision off of new information that they've gained and learned. So if you can ask people properly structured questions to make them actually realize why they want something or actually need to find a solution, then you've made that sale. But I feel like in a lot of other sales, that's just not the case. So honestly, I feel like, yeah, the reason why people buy is based off of new information that they've gained, that you've provided them, but they found themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, has anyone else?
100%. And they also, the reason people don't dot is because a lot of times an agent will get hit with the objection like, oh, it was too expensive. It's never too expensive, ever. I don't care how broke you are, it's not too expensive. They simply don't see the value in the product.
Oh yeah, I've had someone say they only have $300 left over every month, and then they buy a $300 policy.
Yep, facts.
So,
and I think a lot of agents, because you touch on an important point where when you're selling solar, you're trying to logic sell it. And anytime you're trying to logic sell a product, you're gonna have a hard time, because it's like, oh, like, we've got this great product and you get all your money back if you don't use it, and if something happens, you're sick, disabled, pass away, you're gonna get a $300,000 check, and da-da-da, where yes, there's a time and a place where you explain how the policy works or whatever product you're selling, but before that, you have to build the emotion. and the sale rides and dies off of the emotion does.
I do.
And because people do not buy based on logic. People buy based on emotion, and they simply back that emotion by logic. I don't care what anybody tells you. Like, think of the last major purchase that you've made. It was 100% an emotional purchase, and you justified it by logic.
I was gonna say too is also the gamification of this. Like, dude, Mikey, where you come from football, right?
Yeah.
Like that you bred game. That was your whole life. Like the competition that sales brings. Like, what was that like for you, bro? Like coming into this, like genuine.
Coming into sales, like, I guess beforehand, like, we have a little bit of different story where I started and then I failed because I went back to school and then I went back to play. But then coming back into it, I kind of had the right expectation. I'm really close friends with Isaac, been close friends with him for a really long time, and I saw what he's done. And I noticed where I could use the skills that I already knew in the business. So it's like things like discipline, self-motivation, just competitiveness. Like when you see someone else get a sale in the office, that's another thing about being in the office and why that's better for you. Because when you see someone get a sale and you're having like a shitty day, it kind of either fires you up, it kind of gets you going, as well as you see like, well, if he can do it, I can do it.
Oh, hell.
So it's kind of like the main thing. I guess there was just a lot of skills that I learned in football and in sports in general that transitioned to sales very easily, as well as the networking aspect of it has helped me build a team as well.
Yeah, Mike, if you could touch on that, because what we've seen is there's a direct correlation with people that played college athletes that played sports that are having success in this business. So touch on discipline, the coachability, the work ethic, and the accountability it takes that you needed to be successful in football, and how that's directly translated into this business.
I feel like those are kind of things that just become ingrained in you and like just become natural, which is why it's better for you when you get into a job like this. I feel like it's your full identity for a while. Like you're in school for 4 or 5 years, putting all that work into the sport, and afterwards, you kind of have a little bit of identity crisis, in a sense. And you're kind of like, well, I was the man there. Like, what am I going to do now? Like, am I going to go work a 9 to 5 and just listen to someone for the rest of my life?
Do you feel like most people coming out of college, because you brought a lot of people from, like, your team, you have a lot of people from not like your school, but just people who come from football and in sports in general. You feel like most people have that? Like,
An identity crisis?
Yeah, and what would you
For
like
sure,
say-
if they were
say
doing
to
well
them?
and their whole identity was playing their sport, there's a lot of people out there that had plans afterwards, like becoming a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. But there's also a ton of people out there that never had a plan whatsoever.
Yeah.
And coming into a business like this where there's unlimited potential, it's kind of like there's levels to it, which is kind of the same way in college where, you're a freshman, sophomore, you're getting older. The longer you're in the business, the longer you're in school, the longer you're in sports, the better you're going to get. The more playing time you're going to get, the more plays you're going to make, or sales, just the better stats you're going to have, or higher AP,
You feel like college is worth it? Like knowing what you know
Depends
now
on-
if you started this business earlier?
If you're in somewhere where you have a high network, like Turner, where you have, a fraternity, or somewhere where you can build off of that, yes. If you're just going to college and you don't necessarily know what you want to do afterwards, yes, absolutely. But if you have a set plan, like I have a lot of friends that are doing really well for themselves in their careers, their respective careers that they wanted to do, that they're passionate about, then yes. But if you go to college for 4 years, don't do anything special, you're not in fraternity, you're not in any Greek life, you're not in any sports, anything like that, and you don't have something that you're passionate about and you're just kind of wasting your time there, of course, it's a waste of money. And then afterwards, you're going to be doing a job that you hate.
So what you're saying is college is only worth the investment if you join a fraternity.
No.
No, honestly.
Not at all. Not at all. Like if you want to do a high skill set, job, like a lawyer or a doctor or something like that, a surgeon, where you're gonna go to school for like 10 years and learn something that you actually want to learn and do for the rest of your life, then yes, do that. But if you're just going to go to school and then get a degree to make your parents happy, and then you're gonna go work some job as like an operating manager or something like that, like why?
I want to touch on that too a little bit, because I came from sports too also, Mikey, you know that. And you said something about how people sometimes I do have direction after college. They're like, I know what I want to do, and some people have no idea. And some people, they have all this drive, they have all this discipline from their sport, and they're looking for opportunities. And just to like bring it back into perspective, like we're literally in Mexico right now, and a bunch of guys all pretty much under the age of 26 in Mexico hanging out. You know, we don't have a boss. We're building businesses. We're continually striving to get better. And this is a lifestyle a lot of people would want to live. And so I wanted to ask Turner something, because Turner, you just came off your guys' biggest month, north of $330,000, which is huge. And if you could just share with everyone, like, how long have you been in this business? Like, how long did it take you to achieve that? And just the opportunity that you presented to a lot of your guys. Like, this opportunity is so special.
Yeah, this opportunity was a unique one for me. I wasn't new to sales, obviously, coming into this. I had come from solar, and I really just had the intention of changing my life with this, and then showing the opportunity to other people with the intention of them changing their lives with it, and really just changing their financial situation or getting more freedom, whether it's financial, time, location. Everyone obviously kind of has different goals coming into this. I low-key already forget your question.
How long have you been? Like, how long?
So I've been in the industry for a year and a half. So I sold my first policy October 2023. Was doing some sort of phone sales prior. Yeah, I guess a bit less than a year and a half. So a lot can happen, obviously. My team went from doing 60,000 to 330,000 in about 7-8 months. So a lot of it really is just kind of building that base layer of your team and really developing those leaders. The goal really is to figure out how to do this at a high level and then just duplicate yourself. Teach other people what you figured out, which most likely is just things that you figured out from your mentor. It's a big copy and paste business. No point overcomplicating it, and just following obviously what's working for other people at a high level.
Yeah, and that's a direct testament on like why you're successful and why you've gotten your business to the point where it is, because you just come in, you don't try, exactly what these guys said before is you don't try to reinvent the wheel. Because you just plug in, you go to work, you set the right proper expectations, but most importantly is you find the right people to work with, because a lot of time like this business is not for everybody, and that's okay. Like, you got to have the right mindset, you got to have the right work ethic, you got to have the right character, etc. to really excel in this business. And my question is actually for my Sioux Falls guys, because I'm from a small like I grew up in the country. I'm from a small town, Crook, South Dakota. There's less than 1,200 people in the town. Like, you guys were in Harrisburg, a couple thousand people in that town. And you know, growing up in that environment in the Midwest, a lot of people are skeptical about, you know, certain opportunities like this. Like, when I first started in this, I got a lot of flack. They're like, oh, that's a scam, or oh, life insurance, Jonah's probably doing something illegal, or whatever the case may be. So it's just like, how, you know, for you guys, just touch on, you know, you almost have to like shut off like your group of friends and family and not listen to them, and really just lock in and hone in on this. And so speak about like your mindset when you were first getting into this and having faith in the opportunity, and then follow it up with, why do the majority of people, why are they destined to stay broke? And why do they tend to stay in the same place that they always are, even if they're unhappy about that?
I think a lot of it's just scarcity mindset. Like, you're in a small town, like you think small.
Yeah.
You don't got a lot to go off of.
Yeah.
It's that simple, you know?
Yeah, I think another thing, kind of a personal experience when I was joining the business. I've been in the business for just over 2 years now. I initially reached out to you 3 years ago. I was working blue collar work. Reached out, kind of hopped on the phone, started
Share what you were doing.
Yeah, so I was working on telecommunication towers, working 70 hours a week, traveling. It was good money. I was 19, 20. It just wasn't something I see myself doing long term, right?
Bro,
So
imagine if you were climbing a tower right now instead of sitting here in this.
Yeah, no, 100%. I reached out to you initially, right, about 3 years ago. I had a conversation. You sent me an onboarding form, whatnot, right? I was kind of talking to my parents about this, and obviously the skepticism came in, right? Like they started researching our practice company, bunch of not so good reviews, I'd say, just online, and they started raising skepticism. So I was kind of teetering it back and forth. I ended up falling off. I pretty sure I ghosted you or just didn't follow up with you again. And then a year later, I reached out one more time. I was like, all right, like I've had enough of this job. I really am looking for a change, right? I reached out, got sent the quiz, practice, all that stuff. Told my parents like, yo, I'm doing this. It's not anything that can be discussed, that I could be talked out of. Like, I want to change and I'm going to do this. So I think just growing up in a small town, there is a lot of scarcity, and I think there's a lack of knowledge of the industries that are out there.
Yeah.
There's many different industries that no one knows about in South Dakota. So I think that plays a big factor on what my parents were coming from and also what I was believing from them. Like, I didn't know what this was. So that's kind of why I got into the business, I guess. I shut off all the outside noise and just decided to jump in.
Okay, I think my main thing was that we knew you before you were this. No, we knew you back in Sioux Falls, and I knew that this worked. And so no matter what, there's always gonna be people that are small-minded or like say things like I did not care at all. Like I did not care. I knew that it worked. I knew that this is what I wanted to do. The first time that I started, when I fell off for a little bit, I knew that eventually I wanted to do something like this, and it just wasn't the right time. And then when I came back, I kind of hit what I like to call a fuck it point. Like, it's like the point where, there was a lot of things going wrong. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna make it work, no matter what.
So I'm just trying to go on the topic of trying to figure out what you want to do. I was one of those people that went through the full 4 years of college, and I didn't know I wanted to be exactly a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. And I got all the way through with an economics degree, and that's not something you necessarily know exactly how it's going to apply. And I know, Tristan, you just graduated with the finance degree, right? Who else has a 4-year degree? What was your degree in?
Criminology.
Criminology.
Business degree.
Business
Don't
degree.
use it.
Well, you do use it.
I guess I use it.
And I used my economics degree. I just didn't know what vehicle I was going to be in. But I wouldn't say college is a waste of time. It helps you figure out, how you're going to, how to interact with people, how to make, social groups. And
I think it's just like a setting where everybody is together and they all do not know what the F they're going to
yeah,
do.
you're trying to figure it out.
Literally, no one knows. And you're just like, oh, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor, but it's like, cool, bro, but you're probably not going to become one. Like, let's be honest, all right? And that's one thing, too, that really spoke to me coming out of college, bro, to come off of that is, like, for me, it was different. I joined a fraternity, and then I saw what all that was, getting more drunk to cure your hangover, pretty much. Just like, all right, bro, like, how much of that can I really do? And I knew that wasn't me at all, so, like, that was an immediate stop at that point. And, I jumped into a completely different career and honestly just tried to fast-track college to start my job. But, coming off of that as well is I had no idea, dude. Right now, if I was back then telling myself that I'm going to be here today, like, in sales, I would have said, you're freaking crazy.
Why'd you pick criminology?
It was honestly the easiest thing, bro. Like, it was the study of, it was sociology, but it was in that criminology field, but it was just like studying human beings and why societies act the way that they act. And like what happened in the past, and honestly just going over why humans make decisions that ultimately lead up to
That's really good
things
stuff for
fulfilled.
sales, though.
Right. I mean, it is. But also it's like I went through that challenging point in time of not knowing what I wanted to do.
Right.
And I think that one thing I always harp on is people think they have to know why they're here, their purpose of what they're supposed to be doing. And it diminishes people from actually finding their true purpose. You just got to try shit. You got to try shit and go for it and take risks. And honestly, like, I'm a true testament to that myself because, like I said, I never thought that I would amount to anything. I never thought that, but I just knew I wanted to take a risk and I knew I wanted to go. And I lost my business and I got screwed over in my past business. And I kept pretty much going to the drawing board and be like, dude, what is the next step? But I never hesitated to make the leap. And for anybody who's just thinking about, dude, what am I going to do with my life? It's like, you just got to work hard. And I tell people that all the time is pick one thing, take the risk and work hard and become really good at it, because then you'll find out what your true passion is, because it might be teaching people, might be just communicating. Like, you know, there's just so many things out there for you. But if you just sit there scrolling on TikTok thinking, oh, dude, this guy's traveling in a van, which I did, right? This guy's doing all this, like, you know, these people are making all this money. Number one, 90% of what you see on Instagram is complete cap. It's not true at all. But also, on the flip side, is you're not going to go anywhere. Just make that initial push. And everyone here has done that. And I mean, Chase, I know, dude, you came straight out of college. What was that experience like for you, making some sort of leap like this?
Yeah, I didn't have a clue I was getting into this. Me and Tristan, we both had. So we were going to school. We were applying for internships and looking for work. And then Isaac, I was kind of keeping track of what he was doing. I saw a couple Instagram posts. I'm like, I wonder what this is. And to be honest, I'll be frank, right away, I had that small-minded mindset. What kind of scam is this? What kind of pyramid scheme is this? I was exactly what you're talking about. I had that exact same mindset. But I reached out. I kind of did a little research myself and hopped into it. And coming out of college, I was more so impressed how much you can fast track yourself in this industry. I think if you do go the corporate route, which I don't have any hate for it whatsoever, but it takes a while to work your way up, which is not what I want to do. I think it's just kind of amazing that Tristan and I have been doing this for not even a year, and we're sitting in Mexico right now. So
yeah, just to ask a follow-up question, I know kind of you and Tristan have been close growing up. You guys have done many different entrepreneurial avenues. I think, Tristan, you said earlier, like when you guys were 16, you guys were doing something. What things were you doing, and why do you think it allowed you to fast track this business and scale the way you guys are?
one thing I'd say, I think you could touch on this as well, is like a little bit of like the burn ships mentality. In all honesty, like when we started, it was a little bit slower of a start. You and Mikey left out to Chicago, which kind of forced us to just put all our chips in. We had no business getting an office right away. So we got an office right away, just kind of said, fuck it, and in that case, just forced ourselves to succeed. So those other businesses we started in the past, we just had the idea, and like within a week we had it set up and we're just going to figure it out. What do you think?
I mean, we were always coming up with new things, bro. I mean, we were 16. We started like a stock pick Discord server where we had people subscribing to us, giving out stock picks, and I don't know, it was fun at the time. It wasn't gonna last that long, honestly, but like, I mean, every billionaire says like you have to fail 1,000 times before you succeed. That's like the mindset me and Chase had. We just tried so many new things, failed every single time. I mean, there was one point we were doing like marketing services for daycares in town. That was not gonna work out. But we just kept trying, and then we stumbled upon this, and we just went all in on it.
And I chimes on that because I relate to that so much. I have my friend.
So I just see a common, it's very common. I'm not going to say if you don't have a background of trying a bunch of businesses before this that you won't succeed, but it's kind of like that has built your toughness where you tried all these other businesses, and then you have to look at your chance of success in entrepreneurship. Like, what's your likelihood of success in whatever business you try? And then just going back, looking through all the things, the likelihood of myself succeeding those things I tried versus this, it's just since it's a copy and paste business, your likelihood of success is, after all those failures and having all that experience, it's just like you're destined to succeed if you're a previous failed entrepreneur with thousands of, not thousands, but like, you know what I'm saying, trying to say, all those different attempts.
I'd say that's what helped us a lot.
Yeah.
The fact that, I mean, those other businesses we were trying, you kind of just had to go learn yourself.
Yeah.
This is,
You have to learn yourself.
come in, it's copy and paste. You have your scripts, you have your structure, you have the people guiding you basically step by step how to build a business and everything with inside of it. So that's kind of, I'd say, why
I have
we
a quick
succeeded.
question for Tristan and Chase. So obviously, like beforehand, we did have that little Sioux Falls office, right? We had the tax consultant firm, and then when we left, you guys decided to do your own thing, right? How important was it for you guys and growing? How important was it building and focusing on your identity and getting your own space and things like that?
Honestly, I think like building your own team, running like your own social media, things like that, the number one factor is it boosts your confidence. So I feel like you have like a purpose when you're like growing an office, control your social media, things like that. And with confidence comes success, I would say.
Like for like me myself, it made me work a little harder. Just since if you're bringing on other agents, kind of wanting to show them the ropes. Like my writing numbers weren't great. As soon as our team started building, I feel like I put in a little bit more effort.
Yeah.
You know, tried to write a little harder.
You guys had already built businesses before, so when this started, you were like, all right, this is another one of our businesses. We're right off, agency, office. Like you already knew the whole how it works to start a business. You just applied that right away, right?
Right in, we said this one's gonna work.
Yeah.
Us too.
We didn't really have an option because we signed a 2-year lease. so it had to work.
Dude, I want to first off, like watching you guys and like how quick you guys did build an office has actually been sick. Like, coming out, right out of the gates. And there was a common theme that you guys all mentioned about just like one going all in. You guys talked about just the effort mentality, like we're gonna make this work. And there's a lot of people in this business that don't make this work. There's actually majority, even though it's simple, majority of people don't make this work. And I think if you have that mentality, that all in, you do take that leap of faith. I think it is scary, and I think a lot of people fail because they are scared. But Jonah, dude, if you could touch on this, because you are probably, we see you as you are now, but I know you didn't always have this confidence. I know that things were not always like this, and if you could just touch on that, getting into the business, maybe some of the fears you had and how you overcame them, and yes, how you ended up going all in, and what it's been able to do for you.
Yeah, you guys made an interesting point where whether you go to college or whether you don't go to college, the fear of what you're going to do and if you're going to be successful and what your purpose is, man, that's powerful. That's powerful. And for me, it was the fact that I didn't go to college. I had a 1.9 GPA, barely graduated high school, like from a small town where the only people at the time growing up that were, in my eyes, successful were either my parents' friends or family that had the college degrees that were earning 6 figures a year. And dude, every single one of us in this circle and in our group is, dude, we're all making 6 figures. Like we're all like some of us like deep 6 figures. So the fact that you can really you can come in here and build what you have the ability to build, it's truly spectacular. But a lot of it comes from a place of just, that self-doubt and that anxiety is, as long as you channel that and you use that, man, that's so powerful. That's so powerful. And also just people doubting you. Where Dana Way has a saying, which I love. I've got it written out in my notes and I look at it from time to time. He says, bet on me, tell me I won't do it. Tell me I won't do it. May God have mercy on my enemies because I won't. And so when you have that tenacity and you channel that into something such as the insurance business, you can truly build something great. And in closing, I hope you took value from this video. And honestly, if you're still watching it, you're probably interested in getting sales entrepreneurship. So if this is something if you possess the character, if you're willing to make the leap of faith, if you have the work ethic and you feel like this is something that you'd excel in, reach out to either myself or any of these other guys to schedule a call and see if this would be a good fit for you. So with that being said, God is great. Stay blessed.